Welcome back to the channel. Hot Rod here. We got something in store for you today that I have been procrastinating on for months. Buddy of mine's TA, we put together in my old shop years ago, 8 or 9 years ago, something like that. Maybe longer, I can't remember exactly. He bought this car and brought it to us. It was a bone stock, all original car, and we took the motor out. We sent it to Jasper Engines and Transmissions because he wanted to have a warranty on it. And I don't warranty hot rod motors because you just be beating on them, and they will. They rebuilt it stock basically. So when we got it back stock, we changed the camshaft out in it. We put a really large camshaft in it. I don't remember the specs on it, but I think it's too big for the cylinder head that's on the car. We also put an intake and carburetor on it. Put long tube headers on it, 2.5 inch exhaust with flow masters. We put a fuel system on it with the stock tank though, but we did have to put a return fuel system on it because it kept vapor locking. We tried to put a deadhead system on it, and which I've had success with on small block Chevy stuff, but the Pontiac motor didn't like it for some reason. I don't know. I had a 73 split bumper, had the deadhead system on it, and it worked fine. This car, I ran basically the same system on it. It did not like it. It didn't work, so we ended up running a return system into the stock tank. It's a long story, but anyway, we pulled the transmission, had it rebuilt, put a converter in it, put a new carrier, I believe with a posi unit, and 373 gears, I believe, maybe 355s. I can't remember exactly. It's been a long time ago. I don't have any of the invoicing or paperwork. It's been too long. Anyway, he had the car for years, and it sat for a while actually, and he started having some drivability issues with it. It wasn't running right. It set, thought it had bad gas in it, so they had it towed over, and we fired it up when it got here, and man, it literally fogged out my whole property, like blown head gasket style, cracked blocks, cracked cylinder heads. Something is internally leaking. It's putting oil into the radiator, it's putting water into the cylinders, it's putting water into the oil pan. It's just not good. I changed the oil out and the filter, fired it back up. Something happened because it puked a bunch of oil out on the floor. I think the oil pressure sending unit's right above the oil filter. I think it either got disturbed when I changed the filter, or it was just time for it to go, because the filter was on good and tight, but it just puked a bunch of oil out on the floor last night. I put some oil and filter. I knew that wasn't gonna fix it, but I put some new oil and a new filter in it, and I was just gonna pull it out and wash the car off because it's cobwebby, it's dusty. I was gonna degrease a few things. It's not that bad, but it's a little bit. I was just gonna clean it up a little bit before I started taking it apart. But I didn't get that opportunity because it hemorrhaged all on my floor. So I was out of shop. I was out of oil dry too, so I had to run and get oil dry. It was a mess. We got it cleaned up. I drained the oil back out of it. The coolant's drained out of it. What we're gonna do, I'll show you the car. This is Bud's Bandit TA. I've shown it in a little preview clip before in other videos. We'll walk around the car. It's got some stuff stored in it. It's a good clean car. Very, very minimal rust, just a little bit of bubbling right here, and it's no big deal, easily fixed. I mean, it's a pretty sound car, just dirty, and I was hoping to clean it up for the video, but it's going to have to get cleaned up after we get this motor pulled out, because that's what we're doing today. We're going to yank this motor out, hopefully get it out without taking the hood off. That is my goal. I've got my small block out of my old Camaro on the stand here, I've got another stand outside. It's been pouring down rain. We've got tail end of a hurricane, Delta, and it rained like crazy all night last night. Where's the dang hood release on this car? Is it in here? I can't remember. Yep. So we're going to get started here. And we'll carry you around for some of this. Some of it will time lapse, and hopefully that'll stay there. The shaker hood sits up a little high. We put an intake on it. We put this intake on it. It's an Edelbrock Performer RPM intake, and it sits up too high for the hood to shut good. So they cut this. He had somebody cut this, tried to channel the air cleaner housing down. I don't think it worked very well, though. I don't know how much they took out of it. That was after it left my shop. We didn't figure out a good way to lower the motor, or I think we were out of budget or something. I can't remember what the deal was. It's like I said, a long time ago, but we weren't able to accommodate that shaker properly. The hood would shut, it just would be kind of lifted up in the back just a little bit in the back. It didn't want to sit all the way down, and then you don't get any of the shake out of it. It's just mad tight onto the bottom of the hood. But it was mine. I'd put a cow hood on it, have somebody paint the bird on it or something, or get a decal. But the shaker's cool. I understand why he wants to keep it. I like that too. I'd be torn. I don't know. It probably needs to have the motor mounts lowered or something. But everything's original. As far as like the air conditioning works, power steering's here, power brakes, everything seems to be working pretty good. Yeah, we put a vacuum booster reservoir to accommodate the gigantic camshaft that's in this thing. I was hoping to let y'all hear it before I pull it out, but you'll just have to wait till we get it out, repaired, put back in, fired up, and then you'll hear it. And we'll go for some test drives in this thing, and it ought to be pretty cool. Thinking about changing up some stuff when we get the engine out, get rid of these smog heads, and maybe get a camshaft that actually matches the heads and compression and all. So we're going to get started. Like I said, I'm going to try to pull this thing out without taking the hood off. I don't know if that's possible with this. I've done it with my 73 split bumper before. Took the intake off. I put a chain across between each head, and I put the hoist all the way arm down in it, and I was able to get it up and out. I don't know if I have that kind of room with this Pontiac motor or not. So what I'll probably do is take the accessories off and take the intake carburetor off, distributor, and unbolt the exhaust, unbolt the torque converter. Of course, we got to unhook the battery and the starter, and all that stuff comes off. I'm going to try to leave the transmission in it. I'm going to try to leave the tranny in it. I'm going to try to leave all that intact if possible. Back in the day, we used to pull them out. We just yank everything out all at once. I've even taken the front clips off these cars too, but I don't want to get into all that. It's not too terribly hard, but I'm working by myself, so I'm limited to what I can do with one set of hands here. So I'm not going to be pulling front clips off, and that's why I'm trying to avoid pulling this hood off, so I don't have to round anybody up to come over here and help me. So we're gonna get set up on tripod, and we'll start unbolting this thing. We'll start getting everything unhooked. And I did notice also this carburetor that we put on, it's a quick fuel deal. I used to sell a lot of these carburetors at my shop back in the day, but the looks like the pump is seized up on the front and the back. The squirters are not squirting. It is dripping when it would run like that, but but it was accelerator pumps not working on the carburetor, so we're going to pull the carburetor off and rebuild it as well. So this is going to be part one of the Bandit overhaul, revitalization, whatever you want to call it. We're going to get this thing going again, and you're doing donuts and burnouts before you know it. It may take a little while. We don't know what we're getting into, if it's just a blown head gasket or if we've got some cracked, cylinder wall. I have seen one of these crack before. A friend of mine in high school bought a 73 TA with a 455 in it. It had a cracked block. We pulled the motor out. We found a junkyard 455 block, and we transferred everything over, including the bearings, and it worked. That car was fast too. It was had a little cam. We put a little cam in it, a little 455 intake and cam, and some exhaust, and that car would boogie. I think he sold that car so he could go to Panama City for spring break. Well, I bet he wishes he had that back. I wish I had all my cars back. I wish I wouldn't have sold any of them. But it is what it is, and trying to get going here, trying to find me another car here soon. Anyway, we're gonna get set up here and get to taking stuff apart. All right, here we go. First project is to get the radiator out. So when you get the radiator hoses off this thing, clamps loosened up. Bottom radiator hose is already off the water pump because I drained the coolant out, and that was my idea, was to drain the coolant out of it, put some oil back in it, fire it up and let it clean itself out of the cylinders where the water was in it, just long enough to just blow itself out, and then back it out, wash it and pull it back in. But that didn't turn out so hot because it hemorrhaged oil everywhere. Sometimes you just have to give those hoses a good twist, break them loose. I need to get this shroud out of here. I need to take a closer look because I put an electric fan on the radiator when we did this job. I'm not sure how the wiring is. Because it was a decade ago almost. Okay, it's under the shroud. It's not through it or anything like that. Alright, I'm going to take these bolts out of the top. Probably going to lift it up. Look at the bottom side. Get need some new tool bends to catch my nuts and bolts. I got one magnet left on this one. It's got a Be Cool aluminum radiator in it too, forgot to mention that. I'm sure there's lots of stuff I'm going to run into along the way that I'm going to forget that we have put on this thing. Getting ahead of myself here. forgot to put my Fender Protection on this car. Hang on a minute. Set it out, forgot to drape it over it. So I bought these. This guy came by the shop years ago, and I bought these from him. He made these. I think there's a tag on some of them. They've got magnets on them. You can tie them up. Yeah, what does it say here? Netcore Enterprises. Front bumper and grille protection. They're from Canada. Guy came down from Canada. He was going shop to shop pushing these things here in Georgia, and I bought this set. I bought several sets for my shop, but I bought this set with a fleece line in it for working on my old race cars. It had a show quality black paint job, and it was an 85 IROC. It was a beautiful car. Had a small block Chevy in it. It was a 408, had a Motown block, Rodex Track 1, CNC ported heads, had a fogger on it, but I plumbed the fogger. It was a real nice job on the fogger. I never hooked it up, but I did have a big shot plate kit on it. With a plate, I went 590s in the 8th. It had like a 128 60-foot time. It was pretty quick little car. It was a street car too. I wish I had that car back, but I didn't. I don't know. The third gens, I like the third gens, but I'm more into the older stuff than the newer stuff. It doesn't quite fit into my personality, I guess. But it was an awesome car. And we took that motor, that crate motor. That's a ZZ3 crate motor. We took that out. It was in my purple 73 split bumper that I went to the track every Friday night in. We had testing tunes. We had a local track, Dallas Speedways, what we called it Dallas. It was Southeastern Dragway. Since they shut it down about 15, 16 years ago. Unfortunately, I lived at that place. I spent a lot of time there, had a lot of fun there. Was there just about every Friday night for testing tunes, and a lot of Saturday nights, and over the years it was just a lot of fun to me. I didn't go to football games. I went to the drag strip. Anyway, that motor would run 740s, I believe, on like a 200 shot in the split bumper, full weight, pretty much full interior car, very street car. You know, it was my everyday driver. And we took the motor out, and when I got the IROC, I had a jet ski, and I did a horse trade with a friend of ours from school back then. He was trying to sell the car and thought it'd be easier to sell the jet ski than the car, so we traded, and because they were worth about the same amount of money. And I got the car. It was a freaking beautiful car. When I got it, it was immaculate. The dude that had it for me took pristine care of that car. He took a lot better care of it than I did. I should have took better care of it. My kids came along. I just didn't have time to. But anyway, just switching the motor from the purple car to the black car, it picked up 2/10. That's how much better that IROC suspension worked than that old leaf spring suspension. It had south side track bars on the leaf springs of the Camaro, and of the 73, and it would basically bunny hop. It was so aggressive when it left. It would just go dead hook and launch the car up and out, and it would almost pick all four wheels up off the ground. It picked the front tires up just a little bit, but the back tires would almost come up too. Sometimes it would and go. Everybody kept saying, "You're gonna break the rear end." I had 10 bolts in it, had a mini spool, and 410 gears, stock axles, everything. I did break wheel studs one time on the street. I was able to not crash or tear the quarter panels off of it. We put bigger wheel studs in it, and drove that car all the time like that. I drove it with a mini spool in it for, I don't know, a couple years maybe, something like that. It lasted. It was fun. All right, I'm rambling and I'm not working. All right, I'm gonna get this thing. We got the top off, radiator's loose. I'm gonna have to raise this thing up and go ahead and unplug my wiring. Fans here. Come on, baby. Where's the... Come on. I don't want to unplug. I think this is hard to tell me. All right. Okay. Zips out here. Isn't that bit hit me in the face as it came off? And I'm just gonna take my pick and try. It does have some clips inside. They're internal clips. It's like one of these connectors that once you put it on, it doesn't want to come back off again. There we go. Should be able to leave that wiring on. It's on the core support and not on the radiator. I'm not gonna get that gun in there. Yeah, I think I'll just slam it on the floor and see if I can't break the housing. Not intentionally. Okay. Shroud should come out now. And let's attach the radiator. Fan just going attached to the bottom. All right, let me lower it back down. Hitting the steering box is what's happening.
What I gotta do is I gotta take the lower radiator hose off the radiator side. I think so I can slide the shroud down a hair, get past the steering box, and I can take it out. Ah. Son of a bitch.
Water left in that hose. That's part of it. Part of it. A lot of people cut that out. Lower hose, upper hose out. We got some crap in the way still though. We'll probably have to take this, I'll probably have to get this reservoir out. The overflow. Get some pumpkins? Get some pumpkins? 6? Good grief. 6 pumpkins. Yeah. They went and got pumpkins. It's Halloween time. So had a good deal on them. I got 6.
What are you doing now?
What am I doing right now?
Yeah.
On the right socket to get this, taking this radiator out.
Yeah.
This valve's got to come out. And this coolant overflow tank has to come out.
Shouldn't you like run this thing out of gas before you?
No, can't, if it doesn't run, can't run it out of gas, can you? I mean, it'll run, but it'll run all the oil out into the floor. It blew the oil pressure sending unit out. That's why it did that. So I gotta. No, you don't have to run the gas out of it. I'll spill a little gas when I take those fuel lines off.
I bet you should run out of gas before you take a motor out.
No. You should run out of gas before you take the gas tank out sometimes. So depending on what kind you're dealing with. Yeah.
That next.
That shroud's what I'm trying to get out. This was in my way from sliding it over. Enough to get it out.
You're no betcha. Aren't you gonna have to unhook all that stuff to get it out?
I gotta take the battery unhooked, but no, this is the engine.
Yeah, I know.
I don't have to take that stuff over there out to get that out, but I gotta take this shroud and this radiator out because I gotta slide the engine forward and up and out. So I've gotta have this room. I've gotta get this stuff out of my way.
Yeah. Got a little in it.
Yeah, I need to go dump this. Let's see if I can prop it up without spilling it. Work on cars, a lot of times there's little things that are in your way of getting big things out. You gotta take little things out of your way.
Biggest thing in front is the motor.
Sometimes the little things are a pain in the butt. Things that hold you up forever.
What?
Fan shrouds are a pain in the ass. Sometimes they're necessary for cooling, especially on a street car. Sometimes you don't need them. Most of the times I don't run them unless I absolutely have to. We got to modify this one to fit the fan. Be cool radiator and fan. Let's see. All right, now we got a little room to work. You don't hit that battery while I'm thinking about it. All right, battery is unhooked. All right, one radiator is out. I should be able to leave that washer pump reservoir in there. I mean, this thing has everything still. Air conditioning, washers, squirters, all that stuff still here. So I'll probably take that air conditioning compressor off and lay it aside. I don't know if it's still holding Freon or not. It worked 10 years ago or 8 years ago or whenever it was that we put this thing together. But once it left the shop, I never saw it again. Until a couple months ago. Actually, probably about 6 months ago. This car's been sitting here for a while. We've had so many little jobs that have just gotten in the way of me concentrating on a big job. So he's not in a hurry for it, so able to let it sit. All right, I might have to eat some lunch. Come back. All right, with the radiator and fan shroud and the expansion tank out of the way, we can start disassembling the accessories. So we're going to take the air conditioning off. Let's see here. Try to keep all the bolts together on all this stuff, so I know how to put it back together. This thing has to end up going to a machine shop. There's no telling how long that'll take, especially in this COVID era of crap we're dealing with. When I got my 73 Camaro, I think the first day I brought it home, that's the first thing I took off was that heavy compressor. Chunked it. I said, peace. It was out of there. Never had air conditioning on that car. Too heavy. These days on modern stuff, you can make enough power where you don't have to worry about it. Zip tie holding these lines together, it looks like. Spacer. Try to keep everything intact here. Find me something to tie that compressor to that hinge. We'll tie that up and get that out of the way. I'm gonna look around for my bolts that I dropped. And a spacer, I'm pretty sure fell out. try to keep everything together. Turn this off while I do that. I'm trying to keep all the bolts together. I put them in little baggies. I'm gonna keep all the AC stuff together here. I'm gonna try to, keep some law and order to this stuff. If I could stick a bolt back in the hole where it came out of to keep it organized, I'll definitely do that. And that's what I'm doing here, just sticking these bracket bolts back in. Makes life a lot easier. Half inch and a 9/16, you basically take any GM apart. 5/8, throw a 5/8 and a 3/8 in there, and a flathead and a Phillips head, and you can pretty much build an old GM car. He's thinking about changing this intake out, putting like a stock size intake or a stock intake back on it. What do you guys think? Any Pontiac gurus out there that know a better intake to run than this Edelbrock Performer? Something that would work better with a shaker that would still perform good? Yeah. Wrong socket. Alright, went ahead and broke out the whole family of sockets. The 3/8, 7/16, half inch, 5/8, and a 9/16. That's all you need. I've only played with a few Pontiacs in my day. I haven't had a whole lot of experience with them. Did a lot more small block Chevy stuff, but there's a lot of Pontiac fans out there. Been temperamental for my dealings with, but my little washer fell off there. Where it went, I'll find it, put it back on there when I find it. All right, so our AC is off of there. Got another zip tie holding the hose. To the vacuum pump. Okay. Now I'm over here, I'll take that heater hose off the water pump. not want to twist. Come on, do the McTwist. All right. I guess I'll switch sides. Play with this side of the car for a little while. Son of a bitch, man. That's what happens. When cars sit, they fall apart. Wire just pulled out of the alternator. I have to remember to fix that. See that? I can pin that out and fix it. That's no big deal. This one's falling out too. Not a big deal. Just more shit to fix, that's all. I'm sure there'll be a lot of shit to repair. All right. Wrench.
Taking that off now?
Take the alternator off, yeah.
What's the alternator?
What's an alternator? The alternator, this belt, the crankshaft comes out of the bottom. That big pulley down here, see this?
Yeah.
That's attached to the crankshaft inside the engine. That spins all the time, and you attach belts to that to spin things to make them work, okay? So that's the water pump. That pumps water through the radiator, through the engine, and keeps it cool, water antifreeze. That's the alternator that keeps the power, that keeps the battery charged up while you're driving. So that without that, the car would only run for about 15 minutes off the battery, then it would die. Okay, so you gotta have an alternator to keep everything charged up. That's the power steering. So the belt also spins the power steering, makes the steering easy. Without that pump, it'd be real hard, huh?
My tractor?
No, your tractor does not have that.
It doesn't run out quick.
What? Are you talking about alternator or power steering?
My tractor, does it have one of those?
Have one of what? Alternator or
Yeah.
power steering?
Alternator?
It has a generator, yes.
It says you die very quickly, didn't it? Also
So
wonder
it's
why-
different. It's not belt driven. It's called a stator, I would believe, on yours, and it's spun off the engine and generates power. Keeps the battery charged up while you're driving around.
I wonder why those belts have numbers on it.
So you know how long they are, so you know where to put them and what they fit. And you might get one, say, oh, this doesn't fit, I need one a little bit smaller, so you get the next number smaller. It's an identification on the belt to let you know what size it is. Yeah, it took the air conditioning off. That's the air conditioning. The belt spins the air conditioning too, the air conditioning compressor. That compresses the Freon gas. It makes it cold. All right. Okay. 3/16, but I don't see it. There it is. Yep, goes all the way into the head. That's the cylinder head. That's where it bolts into.
It's a washer, right?
Yep, that's the washer. Goes against the head of the bolt.
Why do they have those?
Well, it keeps it from, it tightens up better that way, and sometimes it'll mess the hole up if you don't have a wider shoulder. Sometimes a bolt head will have a washer built onto it. It's called a shouldered bolt. Sometimes they don't. Okay. Just got a big old spacer on those. Pick that up for me. Sit straight onto the car. Here, raise it up. Trying to keep up with everything as it comes off, so just grab it. Should be a watch, should be a spacer in it. If there's a bolt, get it. This is the lock. Unlocks the box from falling on you. This makes it go down. Do not mess with it. I'll let you use it if I'm here helping you on something sometime, but I'll never mess with it when I'm not. Kill yourself real easy.
You have your foot under that.
All right. Now we gotta get the power steering off.
Some cars don't have power steering.
Some cars don't have power steering. This one does. You got to remove it. Should have brought my ratchet wrenches over here.
Get them for you.
Go grab the whole tray of them. You know where they're at?
Over there by a toolbox?
They're in the toolbox. It's the black tray of wrenches on the right side of the drawer.
Yeah, what level?
Don't worry about it. By the time you find them, I'll have it off. Not too hard, no, not too hard. Transmission cooler's in between the condenser and the radiator. The radiator's got a fan, trans cooler, and the condenser. All of it blows, or the air blows through. Radiator fan pulls. Forgot that trans cooler was in there. That's the only reason I mentioned it. All right, so power steering is off. I don't know if I should pull the water pump off now. Let's get the belts out of the way.
Big belts.
Put a little brake clean, spray them off. I think I will go ahead and take the water pump off and take the harmonic balancer, or at least the crank pulley off, just to give myself some more room to pull the motor out once I get it unbolted from the transmission. And then I'll take the carburetor off and the intake and all that jazz. I'm gonna take a break for a minute, label some of these bolts and get some of the stuff taken or put away. And hopefully we can stay a little organized here. All right, we're going to start removing the water pump. I'm putting air in this.
Easier that way, right?
Yep, a lot faster if you can fit it in. Sometimes you have to do them by hand. Sometimes I just like to do it by hand.
Muscle.
Sometimes it takes too long.
Now you're taking it out by yourself.
Yeah. Me and you. Me and you, dude. Me and you.
I can't do anything.
Why not?
I don't know what to do.
You can listen to me and I can tell you what to do. I should have taken that out. You need to take that out. Put that back in. Didn't need to take that out. I will eventually.
So is that air moving that whole thing inside of that tool?
Yep.
How weird.
It's called pneumatic. Air-driven tools are called pneumatic tools. I'm going to take that dang pulley off.
Cool.
Pulley is in the way. Might have to brace it.
You have this put all your tools on.
No, you don't put them on the fenders.
Not
These
this,
fenders,
that.
these are, well, I can set them here because there's no paint right here.
Yeah.
You don't want to set them up there, even though I've got protection. That's to keep us from scratching it when we're leaning over it.
It can still hurt it.
Yeah. You don't want to scratch a guy's paint job up.
It'd be mad. What have you done this guy?
Robert, Bud, probably
Bud.
about 12 years, probably something like that.
Call him Robert Bud.
Yeah, like his nickname's Bud. His name's Robert. Some of his buddies call him Bud, so I started calling him Bud. We used to ride Harleys together. We went on a couple trips to Florida. Put it back in.
That fun?
Yeah, it was fun.
Put all your storage.
Huh?
Put all your bags. Going to Florida.
Just took enough clothes to make the trip in my saddlebags. I had saddlebags on the sides of the motorcycle, were hard bags, like luggage. You just stuff a bunch of pants and t-shirts and underwear in there and your toothbrush and go.
That's all you need.
That's all you need.
That's all you need.
How these bolts would go all the way through there? Doesn't appear to.
I'm motor, so.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we're just gonna go ahead and take the pump
My
all the
motor's
way
in
off.
it.
Motors in what? Pontiac 400.
400.
6.6 liter. See that?
Yeah.
So the belt spins that pulley and it spins here and it pumps water in and out of here and circulates through
Like
the
a
engine.
boat. Boat that
Kind of like a boat, but
propellers.
propeller on a boat makes the boat move through the water. This is pushing water through the block in the radiator.
Different.
This is the engine block, this is the cylinder heads. Heads are on top, see right here? See these aluminum pieces? That's
Yeah.
the heads, this is the block. This is a V8 because it's shaped in a V and the pistons go up in a V shape.
No,
This is a V8. V8's of the king, man.
Mom's car's
It's a V8. All aluminum 5.3
a
V8.
truck. Your work truck is V6.
It's a V6 work truck, yeah, that thing's a turd.
And it's a gasser. Suck.
Yeah.
I like
Well, I like gas motors, man. There's nothing wrong with a gas motor, unless you're pulling, 15,000 pounds or something. Then you want a diesel.
Can your,
But some get, you can have a big block Chevy pulls that kind of weight, no
can
problem.
your dually pull two big combines?
I don't know what a combine weighs, but probably not two of them. You know how big a combine is?
Yes, I know how big.
Remember seeing that combine down at hunting camp?
Yes.
I mean,
You need a tractor trailer.
you need a tractor trailer for that. Yes, my dually would pull the weight of a combine probably, and it would probably flat pull two of them, but it would be ridiculous, a huge trailer to fit that kind of stuff on it. Let's go ahead and pop this pulley off.
Feel that air come off of it.
Like that water pump, it's kind of how this air ratchet works too. The air comes in, I push the button, spins a motor in here. The air spins a motor, which is spinning a gear, makes that turn. And I flip this switch and make it go tighter loose.
I saw a bike at Dick's that had gears.
Yeah, lots of bikes have gears.
How does it? It has a reverse.
No, it doesn't have reverse.
What?
Bicycles don't have reverse.
I mean, you could make one that big.
Too light. You don't. How are you gonna pedal backwards? You just push it. A bike isn't heavy enough to need a reverse, dude. Motorcycles. The only motorcycle that has reverse is a Honda Gold. Harleys don't even have reverse unless they're putting them on them now that I don't know about. That's a two-piece pulley. Okay.
You see the water down there.
Yeah.
All that water's in there.
That's the front timing cover. It's the front of the engine. If I take this off, you'd see the camshaft and you'd see the front of the crankshaft, which this is basically the front of the this is a harmonic
You are taking
balancer.
that off, are you?
I am when I get it out. I don't think I need to take it off right now. I think it's going to leave me plenty of room to get this thing out, up and out. As long as I got enough height with this hood, I'll be good. If I don't, then I'm going to have somebody come over here and help me unbolt this hood and pick it up and take it off the car.
That's heavy.
Yeah, I can't do it by myself.
Have him come over and help you. Out of the car.
Bud?
Yeah.
I don't know what he's doing. I don't know who I'd have come over. I'll find somebody. Alright, we got the bulk of the crap out of the way in the front. I'm going to take this cable off here. Alright, we'll get a closer look in here. Got the front off, got the radiator out. Got everything out of the way in the front for the most part. We're going to pull this intake off the carburetor.
What are those little pipes like curve shaped up?
Which
little
ones?
pipes on top of that red, right here.
These?
That,
These?
yeah.
Those are vents. They're vents. They vent air. The fuel, gasoline comes in this line. These are called fuel bowls. There's a bowl in the front, a bowl in the back, and you can see gas coming in right here. See the gas in there?
It's moving.
Yeah. It fills up and there's a float in here, and you adjust the float right here. So you want the gas about, see that line right there, that notch? You want the gas about right there, maybe just a touch above it when it's running.
You know what would be bad?
And then if it's screwed up in here, it'll come flowing out of here. Which this carburetor I've got to take apart and fix it because it's just jacked up from sitting.
What would be bad is this this crap.
Yeah,
Gas
catch a
would start
fire.
spilling everywhere.
Yeah, catch a big fire. This is stainless steel inside, steel braided. Yeah, and I put this heat shrink over it, this heat protector over it, and I put this on all the fuel line. I believe coming in and out of here and going down
Why
the
do
car
I think
to keep
that's
the
what
heat.
they put on cats?
No, this is like an aluminum foil almost, but it's not a foil.
The little top.
It's just a heat protector. It's a heat sleeve for the fuel lines.
No, I'm talking about this little top.
All right. You're going to work on a race car, you need some AN wrenches. That's 6 or 8. It's 8. I wish everything was put together with AN fittings. I love AN fittings. Makes things easy. I think everything should be built like a race car. Simple to work on. These aren't. This is definitely not a race car. It's a street car, and not simple to work on. But I've made some things on it simple to work on, like that. Bam. Just quick disconnect. Love it. Or it's not quick disconnect, but it comes apart very quick. There are quick connect lines, but not those. All right. We need to get the linkage off of this thing. May take the intake off with the carburetor attached. I don't know yet. Cotter pin holding this one on. Just a little bolt hold that on. Have it extended out. Simple GM quick releases. Quick release tabs. I'm gonna need to take that out. Yep. Let's see. Sorry, I mumble a lot when I'm working on cars. You probably can't hear me good. I probably should have put my lapel mic on. You hear all the schizophrenic curse words that I spew out while I'm working on stuff. Alright, detent and throttle is unhooked, somewhat out of the way. What we got here looks like a good old-fashioned vacuum leak of a good time, but this is the port system for the power brakes. All right, so I didn't get as far as I wanted to get this evening. Life gets in the way, you know, wife, kids, lab puppy that likes to run around and get muddy in the rain. It needs a bath before she go back in the house. She's indoor, outdoor dog. She stays inside almost all the time unless she's playing. So, you know, we got the radiator out, the shroud out. We got the air conditioning compressor off, the water pump off, power steering, alternator. I got the reservoir out. Fluids are drained. Don't whack a whole lot. I'm gonna pop the distributor out. Intake and carburetor is gonna come out next, and unhook the converter, the headers, and motor mounts. Pop this thing out. So hopefully tomorrow night I'll be able to get this thing out, and we will start part 2 of the Bandit TA revitalization. All right, we're gonna get this thing rock and rolling again. Tune in, subscribe, like, share. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're gonna call it a night, and we'll see you in part 2. Peace.